Welcome to the Nintendo Show, episode 52. I'm your host, Devin Moon, and I am by myself once again here at the Nintendo Show. Reasons why? Well, Trevor got wrecked by his one-wheeler, guys. He got destroyed by it. Watch out for those things. Lots of fun to play with, but apparently very dangerous. So hopefully he gets feeling better. He broke a couple ribs, blood in the lungs. Blood in the lungs, never a good thing. I prefer my blood outside my lungs. So we are kind of in a weird spot right now where we are not sure how long he'll be out. I guess we'll see. We'll keep you updated as I know things, you'll know things, and we'll see if we get other people to help co-host temporarily for a couple weeks if we need to, or further on than that, or maybe it will be a 1 week heal. Who knows? I know nothing. I'm not a doctor, not trained. Anyways, just a doctor of Mario. That's it for that news. Also, a couple weeks ago, we mentioned that we were going to be doing a new project. The project we are happy to announce is called Weekly Recharge. You can find that on YouTube. This will be a completely solo YouTube experience. We will connect that with our YouTube channel, the Nintendo Show as well. Weekly Recharge, if you don't know, will be PlayStation and Xbox only show. We might add some PC stuff in there as well, just depending on how we feel the most big important news of that week would be. It's much shorter, 15 minutes or so. We'll have a lot of fun little things in between. It's going to be fast-paced, a lot more flashy than the Nintendo Show, since the Nintendo Show is specifically a podcast and less of a YouTube channel. We're excited to announce that. Again, that is Weekly Recharge. Go subscribe to that right now on YouTube. No videos up quite yet. We will see how that goes also with Trevor being gone. So we'll be seeing all these things are up in the air and we'll see how we catch them. Enough of the garbage. Let's get on to the great stuff. Nintendo had some awesome news. This week, we will talk about the final partner showcase for 2020. We got some bangers that I've been playing. I'll be talking about those. And what streaming means for Nintendo's future, that and much more. And as usual, if you want to be part of the show, you can do so by joining us here on Twitch or Facebook or going to the nintendoshow.com. Just sending in your questions, comments, concerns right there so we can read them out loud. They will go directly to the show, and we love the support and participation as always. Shall we get into what we forever may call the mysterious world of Miyamoto's magical news? There is a singular item on the news today. One partner showcase coming on ya hot like magic. All right. So let's just run through this, shall we? First off, this partner showcase was a rando. No one knew it was coming. Premiered last week. Some big announcements, crazy ones, things that I had no idea or thought would be even coming to the U.S. especially. We'll be talking about that real soon. But yeah, very cool. Very cool direct. Let's start from the beginning. We'll just do the heavy hitters here. So first off, they showed off Bravely Default 2. This looks very JRPG. If you know me, not much of a JRPG fan. Never have been, probably never will be. But I do like the kind of look we got here. I was more impressed by the first trailer. I thought that trailer was a better trailer than this one. We did get to see how the combat will play out, how the characters are. You got Bards, Vanguards, Beastmasters, Gambler, and each one plays out a different way. Like the Gambler, can strike really hard, but also since he's a gambler, he's willing to gamble some pretty dastardly thing like his own life. That will affect the game. So like they'll have a spinning wheel. It might land on him dying, something like that. So each character kind of plays out fun like that. So that seems like an interesting characteristic to this game, opposed to others. I've never played the other Bravely Default, so I'm not quite sure if this runs in the same gambit as, anything that we've seen before from Bravely Default. We also got a date, which would be February 26, 2021. Another February game. I believe we have Mario, which will be coming out that month as well. Not quite sure, but pretty sure it's around there, at least in the first quarter of next year. So that is a cool thing, especially if you're in your Bravely defaults. Go for it, man. They took everyone's advice. They're changing difficulty settings and from the player feedback and fixing the controls, which seemed to be a problem from the demo that people had. We also have Story of Seasons, Pioneer of Olive Town. More of that, farming simulation, kind of go out and have adventures, get married with your digital significant other. It looks fine. Story of Seasons, you played it, you seen it. It looks fine. It's Story of Seasons, nothing changing there. Another huge one that they have shown off a couple times now, Immortals Phoenix Rising. This will be coming to the Switch December 3rd, which is nice, kind of landing around the same time as the other consoles. So it provided some good-looking gameplay. I feel like it looks a little worse. This might be the first time we've seen Switch gameplay specifically. It seems a little blurry, which is to be expected, a little... not as pretty. It sounds like the download size for this game will also be quite large. So something to look forward to, not the download size, but the game itself. Seems like it's going to be great Breath of the Wild like. From everything I've heard, it sounds almost identical. Going out, fighting beasts, going into this great big expanse, learning about the mythology of that world by solving puzzles. Sound familiar? There's gliding. You sound familiar? Yes. So this, if you're a Breath of the Wild fan, this is good news. There should be more Breath of the Wild games. Not a lot of games copy Zelda, which is kind of a bummer. So if you're going to copy Zelda, if you're going to crib note somebody, it's all right to crib note one of the best. So looking forward to that, seeing that in December 3rd. Nothing real new being shown here, but it was good to see that it is coming this year. And I will be picking that up and probably picking it up on the Switch because, graphically it's fine enough for me. Then we got a couple upcoming games. We got the Bakugan kind of thing that they talked about a while ago and everyone was disappointed about. That RPG based thing will be coming on November 3rd to the Switch. We got Grifflands, which will be coming 2021, and then Tropico 6, which will launch November 6th. So those were just a few shorties. If you're into those games, you know who you are. You'll go get those. Here's some interesting craziness that just came out of nowhere. First off, Hitman. I thought what I was looking at or was expecting that I'd be seeing is Hitman 1, Hitman 2, even the older Xbox 360 Hitman games, whatever. But we are looking at Hitman 3, the upcoming Hitman game, which will be coming, sounds like day and date to the Switch, as well as Control, the Ultimate Edition, which also a big surprise because if you know anything about Control, run poorly on the PlayStation 4, runs poorly run poorly on the Xbox One, especially when it was first released. These games, that game specifically uses a lot of pixels and lots of cool like environmental explosions, things like that. That game is also on the Switch right now. And how can this be? How is it possible, guys? How is this even happening that we get actual legitimate, not to say Doom that is illegitimate as or even Eternal as a truly like powerhouse for the Switch. But those games are blurry, don't look good at all. But these games look just as good. Oh, how is that possible? It is because of the cloud. The cloud has come to the US for the Switch. This was happening already in Japan for a couple games, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Resident Evil 7. Both of those going out on the Switch already in Japan. We thought this may not be coming to, at least for me, I had no idea that this would be coming to the US, and so randomly as well. You think they would make a bigger deal of this? That these games, these big heavy hitters are coming on a cloud-based service to the Switch. You thought maybe you would think that the Switch was going or Nintendo would talk about that in some way, but it came out of nowhere. Testing the waters, I guess, before things get crazy. We got a fan question about this. Well, let me pull her up. Boop, boop, boop. Sorry, guys. All right. Mantis asks, what do games like Hitman 3 and Control mean for the future of the Switch? Do you foresee streaming to be Nintendo's new angle to compete with the next-gen consoles? if they're going to compete, if Nintendo decides to compete, this is not a bad way to go about it. Yes, I know Stadia is out there. I know Stadia is doing this currently, and there's like a lot to like about Stadia. Obviously, a lot not to like. Many people aren't using that service, totally forgot about it, or don't even care about it. And that's not working out so well for Stadia. I'm sure Google is quite disappointed, but for Nintendo, a service and a company which is about games, has been about games for years and years and years, one of the oldest, especially with these guys, PlayStation and Xbox. It is, in my opinion, a great idea to have a streaming option because unlike Stadia, where it's a new property, no one knows, not many people don't know about it or even think about it when they're thinking about video games. Nintendo, when something comes up, if you see this, if you see Control in the options of buying things, you are like, oh, I've heard about this game. This would be sick. I want to check it out. You're already there to buy video games already. I feel like this is might do better streaming wise. This might be a better option and a better, mentally, not much of a hurdle for people to go for it. So I feel like, to be quite honest, that this might be a good option. It might be really cool. So for me, I tried this out. I gave it a try. I tried out Control. It works. It works well. And I have awful internet. You all know my internet situation is terrible. I have 25 megabits or bytes or whatever the frick down and up. It's horrible. It sucks. My internet never works. Especially for streaming. I have tried streaming services before. I've tried streaming services for the PlayStation 4. I tried to do Uncharted 3 on it, and it sucked. It was awful. It was one of the worst experiences, and my internet situation didn't change from then to now. But something going on with this Control thing is actually working. I don't know if it's the streaming service they're using. I don't know if it's because it is a smaller company that they're using for this streaming service. I don't know if that's helping that, or maybe there's just less people trying to get on to this service and the load is not as large. Whatever it is, it's working. Like, it's legitimately working. I did performance over graphics because what I saw, graphics definitely not working as well. Yes, it looks pretty, but it's not worth the hit on the frame rates. There's a lot of glitchiness still. Movement's a little framey. I do think that performance is the way to go. If you're going to go with this and you have internet like mine with 25, which isn't good at all, it's like bare minimum, probably in the States. Guys, that works. It works for me. And it didn't freeze, didn't have problems, nothing. It was crazy. I was playing a legitimately next-gen experience with no lag, no problems at all. I went even to the action parts in the demo, and it surprised me how well this worked, and I am legitimately thinking of buying Control for the Switch, just so Nintendo knows that they got my vote, that I'm into the streaming idea. I would like to see games day and date. I would like to see Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch through streaming. Might as well, right? If all you have is a Nintendo console, and there's a lot of people that are just a single console family, if that's what you can do, streaming is a great way to get new video games onto the Switch, a console that is weaker, far weaker than the other services. If you're going to compete, this is the way to compete. This is streaming can put out as much energy or even more than the Xbox One X or Series X and the PlayStation 5. It can compete with those consoles, I think. It can at least get to there. And that's impressive. That's amazing. And I think for me, it's a thumbs up. It's a vote. I really want to try it. I really want this to work out. I think this is a great option. I also think that the next Switch should offer some kind of cellular, man, I can say the word, some kind of internet that you can take on the go, because obviously this is not going to work if you're an on the go kind of guy like myself. I do still use my Switch Lite in my house quite often. I rarely use my Switch. So for me, the portability still happens within my home. But I honestly think if you had a Switch with some kind of internet connection outside of your home and that it was 5G, that we may be able to have a moment where we have portability through, you can keep that portability and compete on another level outside. So the next Pro, whatever it may be, I hope that the Wi-Fi situation is better, the internals are better, better, and that we also have an option for an internet service outside. And then even if we have to pay for it, which I assume you would obviously have to pay for it. But it's crazy. It's crazy that these are out. It's crazy how they came out. It's interesting. They're just dipping their finger in. We're seeing how this works. There are problems with streaming, obviously. There are problems with this because you don't own the game. You own the game as long as the servers are open, so if the servers last for a year, then you only own the game for a year. The great part about this is I love that it's not full price. Love that it's $40. Thank you. It's about time that we got a game that's worth the price of every other place. We're not getting screwed over because it's a Switch game. We're actually getting the price that it should be, since it's a year old now. This is a Game of the Year game. This is a game with a great story, visuals, everything, and it's on your Switch right now. Try it out. It's cool. This is like the biggest news, at least probably the biggest news in this whole direct. It's crazy cool. Freaking try it. At least try it. You have to try it, which I think is cool. Like, they're not taking your the money right away. They're not being like, yeah, sorry, your internet sucks. Sorry, we still got your money. They're actually letting you try it out before they go. It just seems right. It seems the way they're doing this feels right and feels good to me. I hope more games do this in the future, and I hope it actually really takes off. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we're quite ready for streaming. But for me, someone who thought it would not work, I expected it truly not to work. It actually did. And I'm excited to see how Hitman goes. It's very interesting. It's really cool. More stuff after that. Big news, obviously. We got to see No More Heroes 3, a little bit more of that. It'll be coming out in 2021. Obviously, we knew this. It was going to come out this year, but it was delayed until 2021. Just more of that No More Heroes 3 craziness. Looks fun. Visually looks cool. Also, we got Nintendo announced main series games from No More Heroes, the first one, and No More Heroes 2, Desperate Struggle. Both of those games, originally Wii games, now on the Switch today, right now, obviously. Today then, but now. You can play as Travis, do your thing. It's a wacky, weird time, as this game always has been. I don't know how well it holds up this far past, in time. It wasn't the most stable game, kind of a glitchy game, but still pretty fun, and especially the second one. So check it out. No More Heroes. There's $17 right now, but $20 each for both of those games. Then we got Part-Time UFO. This was a game that is by HAL Laboratory. Was on the phones, now on your Switch. Looks fun. If you like HAL Laboratory games like Box Boy, kind of one of those indies done by HAL. Then we got Hyrule Wars, Age of Calamity, finishing this off. Got more of that trailer, and then we were told of the demo that we got. And the demo, we got a question from Roadblock who asked, what were your thoughts about Age of Calamity, the demo? I tried out twice, and I really, my hopes for this game were pretty high. I love Breath of the Wild, obviously. We talk about it all the time. But Breath of the Wild 2, my hype for that leading up is really exciting. Like, I really like the conceit of this game. I feel story-wise it's very interesting to me. And I think it still can be pretty interesting to me still. But the gameplay is kind of boring the crap out of me. I know a lot of people are liking it more than they thought, but for some reason I'm liking it less than I thought I would. I haven't played a freaking Dynasty Warriors game forever. I mean, I used to play them a lot when I was a teen, but man, it's been 15 years or more. I just don't think I don't know, dude. I fell asleep like twice playing this game, and I don't know why it is. It could be that I'm just super tired lately, and then maybe that's what's going on. That could be possibly the problem there. But it's a Dynasty Warriors game. I mean, all in all, it's coding. Like, it looks visually stunning. It looks like Breath of the Wild. It in some ways feels like Zelda when you lock on targeting and stuff like that. That's really fun. I like that kind of stuff. But like the killing all the random guys, for me, I don't know, guys. I don't know if everyone else is like me, but I get most bored when there's just a lot of action. Like, I know it sounds cool to kill thousands of people at once, but for me, that's like the most boring stuff sometimes. Like, when I'm watching movies, Marvel movies, if they're not done right, like, I love action that has impact. I love action that has choreography. I love action that is like button pressing in ways that like are more thoughtful and interesting. I just don't think smashing buttons over thousands of guys is interesting. Same as movies. I don't think watching hordes of thousands of people die is as interesting as like Captain America Civil War, where you're having these like five guys fight one dude and it's like well choreographed. For me, a well choreographed fight is with one or a couple guys is way more interesting than 1,000 people button smashing, whatever it may be. And so that's my problem with this game is I do like the lock on targeting fighting way more. I feel like the one-on-one stuff is good, but I don't like the battling thousands of people. And sadly, that's what most of this game is. And it's just a button masher. And yes, there are some combos you can do. And I like that there is a little bit of combos, but honestly, there was no threat to me. I didn't feel like I was challenged in any way. And maybe I can change that, with the real game. And if you can, then I'm down for it a little bit more. I feel like I just wasn't challenged and I fell asleep to it, which sucks. I don't want to fall asleep to the Zelda game that I want this year. Am I going to try it out? Am I maybe going to buy it? Of course, I'm a Zelda fan. Got to do my thing. Got to see the story through. But I am worried about that. And maybe I'll be sending you back to GameStop. We'll see. So overall, not my favorite demo. Didn't convince me. Actually, it did the reverse, which is a bummer because I'm sure Nintendo didn't send out a demo to be like, yeah, he'll love it. I think they were probably expecting people to love their game, not to hate it, like I did, sadly. Yeah. So that's that. That's it with the news. That was that direct. It was mostly good. I think it was one of the better partner directs, mostly because of the streaming stuff. Control Hitman 3 was a big deal. No More Heroes 1 and 2 was also a big deal. There was a lot more heavy hitters on this direct, even more than the second one. So do I wish to see them more in the future? I don't know. I think the partner directs are fine. I just feel like they're not needed if we're going big directs again next year. We'll see what happens. It might not be that way. This might be our future, is these smaller directs throughout, partner and Nintendo focused. Let's go into what I've been playing. I've been playing Mark of the Ninja. This game's great, guys. I know it's super old, but I love this game. It is a stealth game. I love stealth games. I'm a huge fan of Splinter Cell. Big fan of Splinter Cell. Chaos Theory is one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. So I've been missing stealth games for a while. I mean, they're not a dime a dozen. There's not many of them. So if you love stealth games, like I love stealth games, go check out Mark and the Ninja. It's very, it's a great little indie. It's a side-scrolling kind of game, but there's a lot of cool cutscenes and stuff, well animated. This game is really old. I mean, 2012. It was on the Xbox 360 a little bit, as well as all the other places. So it's a very old game, but I got it for a couple bucks. I've been waiting on it for a while. And it's totally worth it, guys. It is so good. I think it's worth even more than the $2. It's probably, yes, $15 worth, definitely. But yeah, it's a fun experience. Really cool, simple to learn, understandable stealth. Well animated, cool art style, fun action, and and you gotta kill the guys the right way, because if you get caught, you are easily killed by them, which I thought is really cool. Is you can't just shoot a guy. In Splinter Cell, you would just be like, oh, I got caught, shoot the guy, whatever. But this, you can only do little jabs and stabs, and it's just not enough to take the guy down right away. And they have a gun, and they're going to win usually all the time, unless you sneak up and stab them. Anyways, it's a great game, great ninja game, great stealth game, probably one of the best stealth games in years. Definitely, I might be even, yeah, since Chaos Theory, maybe, or Metal Gear, whatever, if you're into that kind of thing. So yeah, great, fun stealth indie game. Check that out. I'm loving it. let's do a little bit of the console wars, the 9th generation real quick. This is where we talk about Xbox or PlayStation news within 5 minutes or less. Phil Spencer, in an interview with Kotaku, seems to be snubbing PlayStation when it comes to them having Bethesda games going forward. Do we think, or I think, that Xbox will keep Bethesda games for themselves? Yes. Or the reason that he's not talking about it is because he wants PlayStation to feel a little worried about it, frankly. I mean, or for people to keep guessing. So it could be that Bethesda games will go to the PlayStation, but we're not going to tell you. Why would we tell you right now? That doesn't make sense. I'm not going to tell you right now when I have a new console competing with a PlayStation 5, an Xbox Series X. I'm not going to be like, yeah, you can get those games that we bought. We spent a crap load of money on. Yeah, PlayStation will get them too. I'm not going to tell you that crap. No, you're going to buy my thing, and then I'll let you know after that. Because to be honest, they hold the cards. If I bought that freaking thing, I personally, if I was Phil, I would be keeping that for myself. They wouldn't be getting it. Xbox doesn't play that way, though. They like to play with others. They like to share the games with others because it's a better way to get money. I mean, if PlayStation 5 has more consoles than you being sold, which it probably does, because that baby is selling like hotcakes, is like 15 times more than the PlayStation 4, it sounds like. If that's the case, then why wouldn't you also give it to people? Like, why wouldn't you have larger groups of people you can give it to, PlayStation, Xbox, and more, then why not do that? I think the only reason why not to do that is if you think you want people more on your Xbox, which is possible. If you want more people coming to Game Pass, then you hold Bethesda. You hold Bethesda for yourself. So maybe that's what they're doing. I mean, for them, Xbox is in the past and Game Pass is the future. Xbox is the vessel for Game Pass. You know what I mean? So it is very possible that what we're going to be seeing here is Bethesda will be staying on the Xbox simply because it is a Game Pass exclusive that brings people onto that service. So we will see people from the PC coming here on Game Pass. And it forces people to go because Bethesda games, you go for Bethesda games. You fight for those babies. You go out and you get them. There's no way I would personally give that to PlayStation. And I would definitely not hold my cards very close to make sure that PlayStation doesn't one-up us again on video games. So even if it does come to the PlayStation in the future, I still wouldn't say anything until way further into this console war here. So yeah, that's my answer. Keep it close, baby. Keep it close. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. You know what I'm saying. Let's do one last fan question since we've gone through a couple already. Lou asks, best game from each Nintendo console. You ready, Lou? You ready to hit it? NES, Super Mario Bros. 3 is the best NES game by far. Come on, man. The art style, the platforming is perfect. Perfect. I think it is better than Mario World. So, Super Mario Bros. 3, NES, obviously. Super Nintendo, we're going to go for Super Metroid. The reason why I'm picking this over, Link to the Past and others, Mario World, is because I think if you look at the gaming landscape now, what game is more inspirational to indies than Super Metroid? This is easily the most inspiring game for all these indie developers. This is the game that they were like, yes, I want to take from this. They didn't take from Zelda, and they did not take from Mario as much as they took from Super Metroid. So you got to try Super Metroid out. And I think for me, it is the most influential game, or what? It might be the most influential game of all time. Definitely one of them, for sure. Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo. Nintendo 64, Ocarina of Time. Have you heard of it? Have you played it? It is the best Nintendo 64 game ever created. Definitely one of the best games ever created in general. You guys play Ocarina of Time if you haven't played it. It is brilliant. It is well crafted, even though the world is not as expansive, and Breath of the Wild outdoes it in many ways. Ocarina of Time, with its overall, like, with the world, with the story, and with the dungeons, I think all three of those overall makes it the best Zelda game. With all of those three, it makes it the best Zelda. You know, there are better Zeldas with better dungeons, and there are better Zeldas with better worlds, but this one does all of those things and better stories. But all three of those things, I think Ocarina of Time does all three of those things the best. The best, but not the greatest individually, if that makes sense. Am I rambling? Yes. For the GameCube, Resident Evil 4. I mean, come on, guys. Resident Evil 4 has been on every single device ever made. And the reason why is because this is it is the best Resident Evil game. 2 is close. 2 Remake is close, but Resident Evil 4 is the best Resident Evil game. And it is an experience that everyone should play. I mean, that's why it's on every console, because everyone should play it, and everyone does. So Resident Evil 4, Melee, really close, because we need a little bit of Smash Brothers in there, but Melee is really close. Resident Evil 4, though. For the Wii, this is going to surprise some. Wii Sports. I think Wii Sports is a game that defines the Wii as a console, and defines Nintendo during this generation especially, and even now, that they're willing to step outside of their comfort zone and do something strange and wacky, and it paid off. Wii Sports is the game that you got with your Wii, but it is also the game that defined the Wii. And I don't think any other game defined the Wii quite like Wii Sports did, and it is really fun to play, and it's really fun to play with family and friends, and still is today. So Wii Sports for sure. Wii U. This haters gonna hate. There are better games than this game out there, but Splatoon defines Wii U for me. It is Nintendo creating a new franchise after years of creating repeats. And when I think the Wii U, I think of the fun that I had with Splatoon. And I know Splatoon 2 is a better game, but I think Splatoon really was from the beginning was pretty solid. You know, there wasn't much that I would have changed, and Splatoon didn't change much. Splatoon 2 didn't change much. It's hard to say Splatoon 2. So Splatoon. It defined the Wii U for me. Are there better games on the Wii U? Yeah, I think so. Kart Deluxe, obvious, Mario Kart 8, Mario games and so forth, and Zeldas. Come on. But I do think this game is the one that steps out and is what I remember the Wii U for. And lastly, I'm going to say for the Switch, I know the obvious answer is Breath of the Wild, so I don't want to do Breath of the Wild. I feel like I'm tired of talking about it. Celeste. I think Celeste is the second best Switch game, but in some ways, I mean, it's just really good. It's really good. I was going to say it's better than Breath of the Wild. I don't know if we can do that, but it's really good. It is amazing. Story and platforming put together is never done, and it's never done well. And this game does it perfectly and is integrated with perfection. It is so good. If you have not played Celeste, get off your butt, buy that game right away. This is one of the best. It is, in my opinion, the best Switch game on the market today, and it is cheap as crap, and it is an indie darling. Go give that company the money they deserve. That game is amazing. Thank you for your fan questions, everyone. Again, send those in. It's always good to hear from you guys. let's get into final recommendations, where we give something awesome to check out, video games or otherwise. This week, Mandalorian Season 2 came out. Checked it out. It's good. It's good, man. The visuals are awesome. This is funny that this is where Star Wars is, that this is the best Star Wars has, is some TV show with some random dude in a helmet, you know? But that's what we need right now. Mandalorian, very, it's a slow paced show. I get people, if you don't like the action, if you like the actions and the blooms and the bing bings, it's not that kind of show. It's not one of your shows where, I know this is what pisses me off. People want shows nowadays that are long movies like, 10 freaking episodes, each hour is going on to the next and the next, and they're all connected and it's just a giant movie. What happened to TV shows? What happened to just one story, and then you talk about the main plot and one story and the main plot. X-Files wasn't good because of the main plot. X-Files was good because of the tiny stories in between it. Come on, we got to get those back, man. So for me, I love this kind of stuff. I like that it's episodic in a way that is not continuations of the same idea, but gives you a little bit of nuggets in between that you enjoy it enough. Mandalorian Season 2, Mandalorian. I'm sure you've all watched it, especially if you're listening to this podcast. But if you haven't and you love Westerns, this is for you. I love Westerns. I like the slow pace. I love the cool cinematography. I like relaxing, taking a seat back. And the visual effects have improved this year. And I would say it's just the beginning of this episode is some of the best Star Wars in a while. I love it. It's great. Go check it out. Mandalorian Season 2. All right. That's it for the Nintendo Show. Remember to follow us on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and you can go to iTunes and any podcast service of your choice. Be sure to like us, heart us, leave us a review, and that will help us out a lot. And be sure to check out over the next couple weeks, Weekly Recharge. We'll give you updates on what's going on there. Especially, we will give you updates on Trevor's health. Please send him all your love and all that good stuff. Till next week. You guys all have fun, watch yourselves some Star Wars, play some Nintendo, and I will be seeing you later. Bye.